Hello BookTube. Today I'm going to be doing the Beefcake Challenge book tag. This tag was created by Big Old Does BookTube. This tag came out late last year and has been making the rounds for the last month. I'd hoped to get to this tag sooner, but it took me a while to find 10 big books that I would like to get to. So let's get started. Prompt number 1. What are the 10 biggest books on your TBR for this year? So the first of these that I will be reading for sure is Dreadnought by Tsugumi Ohba and Takeshi Obata. Dreadnought is a manga series. It's about a young man named Light Yagami who finds a notebook abandoned by a Shinigami, a Grim Reaper. Light learns that if he writes the name of somebody in the Death Note, that person will die after a certain amount of time. But that you can get creative with how that person dies. You can specify a time, a place, method of death. And Light embarks on becoming a serial killer with the goal of targeting criminals under the name of Kira. Kira eventually draws the attention of a detective named L, who is the world's greatest detective. And this begins a cat and mouse game between Light Yagami, Kira, and L, and eventually L's successors. So this series was originally published in 12 volumes, but I have the all-in-one volume. So all 12 volumes in here. So this makes probably the largest book I actually own. And I'm planning on getting to Death Note in March. March here on BookTube is known for 2 major BookTube events: March Mystery Madness and March of the Mammoths. This book definitely qualifies as a mammoth, and it is a mystery, so I'm getting a twofer with Death Note. Now, also in March, for March of the Mammoths, I'm probably going to read, or at least attempt to read, The World by Sebag Montefiore. I mentioned it during the part of my 2025 library tour that I would like to get to this book. I do have some trepidations about it. I caught an error that bugged me, but I'm going to give it a go. And I think my plan for March, at least right now, is over the course of the weekends, I will read manga. So March 1st and 2nd, I will read Death Note. And then the next weekend, I'll read another series for March Mystery Madness, and then more manga every weekend. But during the work week, so Monday through Friday, I will be reading The World. And hopefully that works out. Although I will have some alternatives just in case. Because it's always good to have a just in case. So sticking with BookTube events, this next isn't quite a BookTube event, but into April for National Poetry Month. I've been thinking about in February rereading SOS, Poems 1961 to 2013 by Amiri Baraka. So this is a collection of his poetry. It's been quite a while since I last read this, and I want to give it another go. And so I'd have try to settle my thoughts on Baraka's poetry. I also want to try to get to the selected poetry of Robinson Jeffers, which I have been struggling with for decades. I like his poetry, and yet in too big a chunk, I kind of get put off by it. So I'm going to try to give this a go as well. Also in April is People April, in which participants read biographies. So I'm thinking maybe I can give Grant by Ron Chernow a shot. I've had this for a number of years, and it's about time I read some presidential biographies. So the next event would be Rocket Summer, in which participants read vintage science fiction and maybe fantasy. I'm going to go with Dhalgren by Samuel Delany. It has been a very long time since I tried this book. It's a post-apocalyptic science fiction novel. So I want to give it I've been thinking about giving this a go. So maybe in August. Oh, wait, no, it's July. Rocket Summer's in July. So the next 4 books are for Historathon. Historathon is a year-long event in which participants read history. So I kind of have an idea of something I'm going to try in February. And I'll talk a bit about that when I do my February reading plan video later this evening, which will go up tomorrow. And I'll explain that on that video. But one of the books I'm thinking about that's on the docket is, and this is the longest of them, is Rome and Persia, Rome and Persia, the 700-year rivalry by Adrian Goldsworthy. So this is a history of the long-running conflict between the Roman Empire and various iterations of the Persian Empire. I tried to read this after it came out about 2 years ago and found it really annoying. I think in part because Goldsworthy really doesn't give much attention to the Persians. The sources he's using are Roman. He's working from a Roman point of view, and we don't know much about the Persians, but we know more now than we did decades ago. So couldn't you have used those sources? Or look to see if there are new sources? Anyway. And then the next 3 are for later in the year. One is Lone Star Nation, the epic story of the battle for Texas independence by H.W. Brands. So this is the story of the Texas Revolution. I'm also thinking about having a go at Dreadnought, Britain, Germany, and the Coming of the Great War by Robert K. Massie. I have tried 2 other books by Massie and did not get on with them. Maybe reading something that's not a biography of a Russian emperor or empress would work better. And I've been thinking of having a go at The Transformation of the World by Jurgen Osterhammel for a while. So I threw this on the pile as well. Okay. Well, I'll save that one for later. So, question number 2. How thick are your books? Measure them. So I did this earlier, and the books are 20 inches. Question number 3. Do you think you can read them all? Well, I have a plan for Death Note. Death Note is absolutely certain I will get to. The rest of these, I don't know. It depends upon what the rest of my reading plans are like. Most of these are history, and while for a few years while I've been on BookTube, history has been my dominant genre. That has largely changed over the last few months. Certainly over the course of 2024 and into 2025. Right now, I'm really more interested in manga. So my reading plans are privileging manga over everything else, as in these cases it should. So I don't know if I'm going to get to these. I'll give it a try. But it also depends upon kind of how my reading plans go. Like, say, for example, SOS by Amiri Baraka. I'll probably debate with myself later this evening for my February reading plans, whether or not I do want to reread the book this month or, well, in February, or maybe put it off till April, or maybe just do something else. I'll talk it over with myself then in that video. Roman Persia. Very clearly me going on a bit of a rant about the book. There's a reason why I bailed on it. Do I want to give it another go? We shall see. I'll debate that with myself tomorrow as well, tonight as well. And then, of course, I could just try them and bail on them. You can never tell. Okay. Question number 4. How many pages are they? Total and average. I did not do the average. But I can go and do a quick rundown of how much they each are. So, Death Note, the largest of, so in total, the books come to 9,625 pages. Death Note is 2,397 pages. The World is 1,265 pages. Robinson Jeffers' selected poetry is 749. Baraka's is 601. The Grant biography is 961. The World by Osterhammel is 921. Dreadnought is 910. Lone Star is 527. Rome and Persia is 493. And Dhalgren is 801. Question number 5. Do you even lift books, bro? Lift your stack. Yes, I lift books quite often. I move them around frequently. But let's see if I can do this massive pyramid. So. Okay. Barely manageable. Let's move this so it don't hurt it, because that's the one that would break my heart if I broke it. And finally, tag some people. So if you'd like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. This was a lot of fun. I should have done this video yesterday when I was feeling a bit down. Now I have to figure out how I'm going to get all these books I me. Okay. So anyway, BookTube. I will be back later this evening with weekly reads and also my February reading. Well, I'll upload the weekly reads tonight. I will do my February reading plans tomorrow morning. I would do it tomorrow. I would film it tomorrow morning, but I may not have the time for it. Because I don't know whether or not Historathon is going to elicit me with, or I'm going to go off a bit. So we'll figure it out. Anyway, thank you, BookTube. I will see you later this evening. So until then, thank you. Have a great afternoon and stay safe.